Hey everybody, it's Chief here. This is another episode of Coffee and Crypto, and today we have a special guest. The founder of Bitcoin MYK is joining with us, alongside our usual news recap and a little bit of some insights for you and trends that have been happening in the past week. The main focus of this show, if you're new to us, is to help you get some insights on the Bitcoin cryptocurrency and blockchain space in a short amount of time. We try to keep it between 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. That way you get a lot of good information. And we usually have either one or two guests on to share some insights. So we try to go over a recap of quick recap, about 5-10 minutes of some past news this past week with some insights. And then we move on to the guests where we get some additional insights about what they're doing, how it's impacting the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, how it's bringing more awareness, and kind of what their the main mission is, what the main purpose of their project. So I'm really excited to talk to him and just kind of share what they're doing with Bitcoin MYK, because I'm a newcomer with this one, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say. But first, this past week has been pretty interesting. We've had a lot of corporate success attached to the blockchain. If you've been paying attention, IBM has been trying to push a lot of different corporations through the pipeline, the blockchain pipeline, and one of them just actually signed on to create a private blockchain within their ecosystem. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but IBM signed a pretty nice beneficial relationship with the Stellar network, XRP. So they're building their private blockchain solutions on their network, within their ecosystem. So a lot of people say that's going to help stabilize XRP. But the more businesses and larger corporations that are interested in using the blockchain technology, the better. So IBM brought on two real quick with their first pilot project. First one is actually kind of hidden by me in Columbus, Ohio. That's a big insurance company, Aetna, AETNA. Aetna is a $25 billion huge business, and they're going to use it for kind of bring more transparency to patient data, and they signed on to IBM for a pilot project. So they're going to be developing their own blockchain and kind of helping make sure to see that their patient data is true, is actually transparent, because sometimes a lot of problems right now with current medical societies or current medical devices is they're not too transparent and they are hard to get access to, and sometimes they're all false data. So the blockchain will help correct all those problems. So it's probably one of the reasons why Aetna kind of signed on. And that's huge, because Aetna, if it's very successful with this blockchain, will bring on a lot of big medical companies, big medical facilities, hopefully something like kind of like a business network such as like Cleveland Clinic. Different operations like this brought to the blockchain is great for the whole ecosystem and will help everybody rise. And another one IBM brought in is PNC. PNC Bank is a very large bank, and they're very located all over the United States, mostly in the Midwest. But PNC is signed on just for another pilot project. There's less details about this project, but PNC is a major bank, and the fact that they are signing on for a project with IBM using a Stellar network is huge. That's another corporation that can help validate the space. So that's great news in my regard, and I'm excited to see what kind of effect it has on the market. More recently, if you notice, like I said, there's more and more corporations that are using blockchain technology. Some are still dabbling in cryptocurrency as well. One is a huge company, $4.7 billion electronics company, actually based in Phoenix, Arizona. They signed out. It's called Avnet, AVNET. They're one of the largest electronic component distributors in the United States, Fortune 500 company. But they're going to be taking payments from their suppliers and other customers using BitPay, which, if you're not familiar, BitPay is a huge processing cryptocurrency business. They have debit cards that you can use to cash out your cryptocurrency, and they also help with processing payments. So they're partnering with this large company, Avnet, to be able so they can be able to take payments. Right now, it's Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Those are the two cryptos that they're going to be accepting. Which is interesting, but we'll see. I wonder if this would cause more companies to go a similar route, because I know BitPay is a pretty big sales team, and they're reaching out to a lot of companies trying to sign them on, using them as a service to process this cryptocurrency exchange. So I'm excited for that. But going into it, we'll give you the prices. Prices have kind of stabilized a little bit. If you look at the Binance coin, it's been going up a little bit, but it's outperforming most of its peers, which is pretty ridiculous. When you notice that it's in the top 10 right now. But if you notice, it's more about who uses it. People give value to the currency. So that's more people using a project, which you can see there's millions of people using Binance to make trades. So that gives a lot of validity to their coin. You need to get people using your project coin, you need to get people in your ecosystem, and the projects that do that successfully, look at their prices, and they're resulting in the same thing. So it's really cool to see that people give value to currency rather than a stack of metal. But we're going to switch over right now. We gave a little bit recap, just a quick recap of what's going on. A couple of news stories this past week. We might dabble in maybe one or two after we talk to our guests right now, but we want to see. We just want to make sure you have the most insights for your time. So we're going to invite Mykos in today, and he's the founder of Bitcoin MYK. Are you there?
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going fantastic.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what brought you into this crazy space.
Yes, I spent several years working for investment firms. I was a stockbroker, a commodities broker, and then I tried my way in venture capital as a business broker, and had some fun years with that. Learned quite a bit in that industry.
I'm sure.
And when I found out about cryptocurrency, it just kind of felt like a very natural progression over. There was quite a bit of similarities there.
So building off of that, knowing that, what inspired you to create your project, the Bitcoin MYK?
Well, when I came into the cryptocurrency space, it was very exciting for me. I think, like a lot of people. And I immediately started to look at the market size, the market cap, and I wanted to know what was pushing and what was driving this demand in this phenomenon. And so I started to kind of rack my brain a little bit, and I was trying to figure out. I said, well, what is it that would make this market really work? Because I really liked it. And I guess I've always been the type to create models. I love create models and building things. So I, right away I just started thinking about what could my contribution to this space be to make it better. From the background I had and some of the things I had learned, and it kind of went on from that.
And that's incredible that you've done that, and it seems like you're really coming with good intentions, which in this space, it's kind of 50-50, and it's good to hear you say that. It seems like you're really coming from a good place. So what is your project doing for people who are maybe unfamiliar with it? Or what kind of impact are you having with it, and what are you doing with it?
Yes, so Bitcoin MYK, it sounds right off like a Bitcoin fork, but I think it's more accurate to call it more or less a bridge currency or universal cryptocurrency. And so we wanted to target Bitcoin, Bitcoin being, I think for us, more or less branding to attempt this first with Bitcoin, it being the biggest cryptocurrency and probably being the one that was going to be the most important target at this particular time. But what it does is it acts as a represented cryptocurrency for Bitcoin over several blockchains. So this isn't new. A lot of other projects are doing something similar to this, but I think what makes our project unique, when we couple that with it being a bridge cryptocurrency, what makes it so that we're able to move that Bitcoin value from place to place and stop the double spend would be a process that we use called social media verification keys. And
that's something that people might be unfamiliar with. What's social media verification?
Yes, it's using social media websites. They can be on the blockchain or off the blockchain, and it's a way to identify that it is a unique account. Now, if I guess the direction we were going in is similar to what you get right now with the Lightning Network. And what you get with the Lightning Network is usually you go through a hub, and then through that hub it's routed out to the rest of the network. We use a similar process where there is a hub, but the hub that is controlled is our elected members. So they kind of work like what you get in delegated proof of stake, how you would elect the people to mine the blocks.
Mm-hmm.
In our case, you elect the people to run the hub. So it's very similar to what you get with Lightning Network. And once you transact through that hub, you have access to the entire network.
Oh, wow. So that sounds like the people who are helping with the hub, will they be rewarded in some way?
Yes, they are. We call them network suppliers.
Okay.
And what happens is they go through an election process over the blockchain. And when the community elects them, they're awarded tokens to distribute out. Right now, they have to distribute over 50% of the tokens that they're awarded. The way it works to keep everybody in line, if they do a bad job at that, then you don't have to elect them in the next election. So the community kind of keeps them on their toes to make sure that they're doing a good job at that, and that they're able to basically do the transactions with the rest of the community who wish to move this represented value over these blockchains.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you? I'm assuming. How many network suppliers do you need for it to actually start?
Right. Well, kind of the way we think of the project is it kind of starts from a centralized point and it moves to decentralization. Because in our viewpoint, that's the way most cryptocurrencies work. We tend to think of or say words like decentralization. But in our viewpoint, it's levels to decentralization. So we feel that we move towards decentralization. And the way we try to do this is we try to make it accessible to the community. So, even if you're not like a person who's very technical, who knows how to mine blocks and a variety of things like that, what Bitcoin MYK does is it makes this now accessible to you. So it's a type of decentralization of miners and a type of decentralization of development. And the entire concept is to get everybody in the community able to do this and able to participate. So what happens is, similar to, I don't like to compare myself to Satoshi, but similar to like how he started off, I became the first network supplier. And so what happens now is it's like it goes on, and as more people come in, anybody can be a network supplier. Anybody can come in as long as they have a hub or who can run a site similar to our own. They're able to set these up, and then we hold these elections, and then the elections at that point on determine who are going to be in charge of supplying the tokens to the community.
So, I guess when you're building, I'm assuming you're in the process of building the community right now. What are you finding to be the hardest parts about building a community, especially in this cryptocurrency space?
Well, in the beginning, the marketing is the toughest part, but I skipped over something that was very, very important, and I think it'll make a great deal more sense. And that is, even though we're not technically a fork, we do follow all the parameters of a fork. So, what's happening on March the 31st of this month is the Waves Exchange, which we trade on, will issue the first fork of our coin. So they have about 500,000 Bitcoin holders. So every Bitcoin holder will get at a ratio of about 4-to-1 Bitcoin MYK coins. So that's about 500,000 accounts. So it does act and work like a fork, because the idea of it is to move that represented value of Bitcoin. Now, what happens is, where the network suppliers come in at, is generally what happens in a fork is people don't claim all of the Bitcoin fork tokens. And so then at that point, it could be for several reasons. It could be perhaps maybe they lost their passwords, or maybe they even, unfortunately, are deceased now. Whatever the case may be, what happens is those tokens go back into circulation for the network suppliers to move them out to the community.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you're using the fork to really help market your project.
Exactly, exactly. The Bitcoin is really part of the branding, because the reality of the situation is Bitcoin MYK, or the project itself, could work with any cryptocurrency. So it's almost similar, an option, if you will, to the Lightning Network.
So are you thinking this?
I'm sorry.
Are you thinking this is going to bring some of the Bitcoin community into, more specifically, your community, and kind of help build some and try to recruit some of these network suppliers?
Right. It's part of that, as well as trying to create a better way to move Bitcoin. So one of the biggest issues have been Bitcoin doesn't work very good as a money. A lot of us believe it works better as a store of value. So the idea of Lightning was to be able to move it more efficiently across the blockchain. And so what Bitcoin MYK attempts to do is provide yet another option for that, or a solution, as some people don't like Lightning, how it works. Some people do. And we just want to provide yet another option for something they could try. Once you are connected with your hub, you're able to then send that represented value to anybody on the network, which is a little bit different from Lightning, whereas it routes you throughout the hub or to the rest of the community that's connected to that hub.
So yeah, that's a good point. With it, that being said, I'm sure you're going to need some help developing it with developers. Is your project open source?
Yeah, no. What it is basically running right now on the Waves platform. It runs on Waves. We decided that it probably would be best not to go the route of building a blockchain. And the reason that is, our thought process throughout it was that if we were to build a blockchain, how secure would it be? Like, it wouldn't be as secure as Bitcoin. It wouldn't be as secure as Ethereum. So, we didn't think that it was the right move for us at this time. So what we decided to do is piggyback off other blockchains.
That's interesting. Yeah, because you're really just knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and focusing on that, and delegating your weaknesses to someone else. And the Waves network, what have you seen with their strengths? Why did you choose that network for you guys to have your project on?
Yes, with Bitcoin MYK, I think it's important that Bitcoin MYK is meant to be a mass adoption vehicle. It's built that way. And with Waves, what we saw right away, I think what really hit us about Waves, it happened probably several months ago. They developed this mobile app. And when I used it, it caused the price of Waves to spike very high. And when they did that, and I looked at that app and I used that app, I said, if I were a person who didn't know much about cryptocurrency, and I'm just coming in, I'm a new person, I would want to use something like that. And I think that's what really pushed us to Waves, that mobile app, that it was so user-friendly. So we want to make this available and accessible and very user-friendly to new people who will come into cryptocurrency. And we thought that was very, very important. and Waves seemed to get that. And so we said, well, this is who we want to piggyback off with.
Hey, smart man, smart man. So are you thinking that the app will be able to use for your consumers Bitcoin MYK? Just community will be a specific brand for it, or will it be using an overarching app or Iridium circulation?
Well, what happens is we start off with the Waves platform, but we also plan to go over the Steam engine as well this month. And so it will be like basically the Bitcoin version on Waves, and then it'll be the Bitcoin version on the Steam engine blockchain. So that would be pretty cool because you'll be able to move that value back and forth between the blockchains as well.
So it seems like you're kind of using the strengths of the Wave to your advantage, but do you
blockchain at some point in time? And I think that is quite possible that we may do that at some point in the future. But I want to mention this part alongside with it because I think it's very important. And that is, I think we kind of see ourselves as an extension of the cryptocurrency space. We don't really want to be our own project, if that makes sense. We want to kind of extend out from existing projects to be kind of integrated into them, just like what we're doing with Bitcoin. Because the thing that unique that we do after we take the snapshot the last day of the month is usually after you do the snapshot, that's it. Whatever tokens you've been given, that cryptocurrency goes on to become its own thing. But the reason we're so integrated with Bitcoin is because of the system we use, the social media verification system, and the fact we can identify that it's a unique account. We're able to continue to supply the Bitcoin MYK tokens to Bitcoin holders. So a Bitcoin holder would only need to either buy more Bitcoin or mine more Bitcoin to get more Bitcoin MYK tokens. And that's only because of the social media verification portion. A key that we can identify those people with. Now, in the case that people might find it not to the level of anonymity that they wanted, like the hub owners that they elect, if they feel that I don't want to go through that hub, I don't want to trust this guy with any information, then they will still have that option to get involved with the project prior to the snapshot that's going to be taking place this month. But I think it's also very important to note that besides the network suppliers supplying the coins like Bitcoin to be able to facilitate that represented trade value across the blockchains, that we have also implemented a universal basic income program with some of the tokens that aren't claimed that go back into circulation into universal basic income. So,
so how would that work? Because I know that's a pretty big hot word in certain circles in society. So how would that work? Because that would be a solve problem for some people.
Yes, let me explain that. Now, I'm not sure if you know what's happening with or what's been a big topic with EOS and Telos, who forked from EOS, but they had planned. I know Telos is doing it at this point in time, but I know EOS had planned to do it under the term Universal Resource Inheritance Program. And this was where they take their inflation and they would supply members with universal basic income on the network. Now, the reason we feel this is so important is several reasons. The first reason being that we believe universal basic income is a mass adoption vehicle. EOS believes that, and so does Telos. But not only that, the climate of our world at this time, of our political system, even here in America, which is surprising, is really moving toward this idea of universal basic income. We have a candidate for president right now who's gaining quite a bit of traction under that idea. And so the first thing came to mind with us was, well, wouldn't that work better on a blockchain? Mm-hmm. And so we said, is there a way we can implement this into what we want to do with this bridge currency, this universal cryptocurrency? Is there some way we can implement universal basic income into this? And I said, well, why not? Because if EOS can do it with their inflation and Telos is doing it, I'm sure it's some way we can do it. So we said, well, where would the money come from? Where would the funding come from? And what would it do to the price of the coin? And what people like that? So we weighed all of those factors, and what we came up with was that when there's a Bitcoin fork, generally, and I keep saying it's a fork, mostly for rep, but or if we want to call it an airdrop or whatever people feel more comfortable with. But when that occurs, generally it's going to be a lot of these tokens that don't get claimed. It could be millions that don't get claimed for whatever reason. And we thought about why not have our network distributors, our network suppliers, distribute those tokens to supply UBI, and the Bitcoin holders tokens distribute them so they can move their Bitcoin value across several blockchains.
Mm. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, wow, that's pretty nice right there. So
yeah, it's very interesting. It's something different. I think it's something new, but I think really what we were going for is the biggest cryptocurrency, Bitcoin having reported about 50 million wallets. I'm sure many of them are duplicates, but we're just going to go with that number for now. So 50 million wallets with Bitcoin, and then about 80% of the globe that is in need of universal basic income.
Huh, yeah, and that's what I'm curious, because I know you were definitely the platform, maybe a vehicle to implement that, whether it be an exchange or some way of some payment processing method to implement that, but I'm sure it can definitely be done.
Oh, yes, we're doing it now. We're doing it with the Waves platform. So we're already on the Waves platform, and what happens is the people in our network, they will have access to those tokens. So I think that's really where the footwork comes from in our project, that the network suppliers, they are the people who have to get these tokens out. So they're kind of the labor force in that.
Yeah, so I guess I'm sure some people listening would be interested to join and try to get some of these some coins, whether it be helping out or investing. So where would
it can go either way, and this is kind of interesting as well. This is what I like to, because I get a lot of conversations with like kind of straight up hard business people, and they go, well, universal basic income's not going to work. People are going to get the universal basic income tokens, and they're going to dump them. Each month, it's going to make the price plummet down. But what I generally tell them is this: I go, look, hey, Bitcoin right now is around $4,000. What is it going to take? How much money injection is it going to take to get Bitcoin to go from $4,000 to $8,000? And how much money injection is it going to take for Bitcoin MYK to go from a few cents to 2 cents or 10 cents or $1?
Exactly.
And so it's from a purely speculative standpoint, it's much easier to achieve that with Bitcoin MYK. But I'd also like to put in there that on our hub we have a job economy, right? Like a gig economy, where a lot of people who are coming in under universal basic income will be able to trade their skills for the cryptocurrency with the community, right? So if you need an assistant, a personal assistant, if you need a person who's good at proofreading, doing your post for you for a statement or something like that, you can pay these people in Bitcoin MYK tokens who are receiving this universal basic income. Now, they're injecting value into the token and into the network based on their skills, offset by receiving their universal basic income. But also from an economic standpoint, I also just love the fact that with universal basic income, we'll get a chance to see Bitcoin MYK get treated like a money and not an asset or a store of value, because you'll have people actually spending and not holding the token.
So that's a good way, because you need that velocity. You need people spending it to add that for the money supply, and it really needs to add value. So that's really smart to do that way.
Absolutely, and not only that, but as the money moves from one hand to another, under the theory of velocity of money, $1 can become $2 and $2 can become $4. So as this money moves around, hopefully we can have a pretty good effect on the overall, economy of what's happening with Bitcoin MYK. But also, it's also very important to bear in mind that most of the holders of Bitcoin MYK will be Bitcoin holders.
Because of the airdrop.
Exactly.
So if people want to get involved to buy it right now, where can they go?
So they can go to the Waves decentralized exchange. Very easy to set up an account. Took me like 2 minutes. It's very user interface. Both online, you can download it on your computer directly to your desktop. It's just a great, in our opinion, it's just a great platform.
So that you can go there, create an account, and then buy your token. And what token would they be looking for?
Okay, it's gonna the ticker symbol is under MYKOS. My name, my vanity wouldn't allow me not to put it in there, I guess. But it's under MYKOS. You can just type that into the search, and our token will come up.
So you're looking for the MYKO, you said?
Yes, MYKOS.
That's easy enough because that is your name.
Yeah. That's the short abbreviation of the MYK. Although I did want to change that. I meant to change that, but before I did, it had already kind of picked up a little bit of steam, and so people were recognizing this that, and I said, okay, maybe I made a mistake putting that out there, but it's out there now.
You adapted and made the best of it.
Yeah. But like I said, it's really going for a decentralization of the entire space, because what we did in the idea of decentralization is we broke it down into categories. We said, okay, when we look at decentralization, is there a decentralization of miners? Is there a decentralization of developers? And is there a decentralization of value and wealth? And when we scored in all three of those categories, we found many cryptocurrencies in that area. So this project is supposed to be very simple to use for anybody to use, and anybody can come in. You don't have to know anything about mining. You just want to help. Are you good at going out in the community and getting people involved and sharing the tokens with them? Do you mind doing the footwork? When a person who holds Bitcoin, they want to move that Bitcoin over to another network or a blockchain, you need to be able to verify that that is a unique user. And we trust the community to elect and put in place people we feel will do a very good job at that.
Wow. That's incredible, because that means everybody's in a spot where they can bring the most benefit to the community.
Right. So in a weird way, everybody could be a network supplier. But up until the point of the elections, and then it'll get reduced down with the token supply, and and then the people who it's kind of like how what will happen with Bitcoin as they mine the final tokens of Bitcoin. As the supply reduces, they'll get less and less. But of course, the cool thing about cryptocurrency is it really doesn't matter how many tokens are there, but the value matters, and we can go down to like 8 decimal points.
Oh, and so when do you think in your head forecasting your first elections for the people?
We want to set it to the first 10,000 users on the network.
Got it.
So up until that point, anybody can pretty much come in and be a network supplier, and they'll be getting like tokens sent out to them to distribute across the network. And by the time we reach 10,000, we'll have our first election. And the people who come out on the top, it'll work something like some of the sites like Steemit, where if you're kind of like a top witness, I believe they call them witnesses, if you're a top or an EOS, a block producer, then you get rewarded more based on how well a job you've done. And so it is kind of that element, but then we want to reward people who are doing a good, really good job at bringing people in and getting them the tokens across the networks and getting their value across the blockchain.
That's amazing. So, after what do you focus on after this first airdrop? what's your main efforts you're going through right now? You're in your team.
It's going to be more so just marketing and advertising. Also, I have to throw this in there too, that it will be up to every hub owner, but we are running ads on our hub right now. But I want to be clear that a hub owner has the right to run ads or not on their hub. So what's pretty cool about that, if you're a person who gets annoyed with ads, you don't have to use our hub. You can just go to another hub. Now, the reason we do that is because one problem we found in the cryptocurrency space, and just my personal research, I found that there is a great lack of demand in cryptocurrency, and value-wise, I think we should be getting as much value as possible. So we do run ads and put that money back into the network, but it will be at the decision of each hub owner that is elected by the community to decide if they want to run ads or not. So it's pretty cool, because then the community can go, well, you know what? I don't mind ads so much if that's what, much like what we get in cryptocurrency right now. I don't really mind ads if that's what it's going to take to build up the space and the value. I'm fine with that. Then you got to get some people go, well, no, I don't want to do that. I hate ads. I hate supporting big corporations. So we're not going to do that. But I tend to look at it like the corporations have already taken so much of our money that it's only fair that they give some of it back.
Yeah, there's a logic right there. There's a logic right there.
I mean, that's my take on it. It doesn't mean I'm correct, but in our space, we respect everybody's viewpoint on how they want to go about this in the cryptocurrency space, and that's the idea of decentralization for us, that you have all these options, and that everybody is able to participate at a pretty equal level, and it's not going to be mining going on someplace in a centralized area that I can't control.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's bringing extra money to the network. Do you have any active bounties right now where you're giving out funds for help right now?
Yes, we do. What we have is we're running right now on the first 1,000 accounts, because just starting off, we're very similar to the Lightning Network. You know how Lightning started off. Wasn't that many people using it. Then it got to 1,000 people or 1,400 people or whatever the case may be. To really get the onboard going, the first plan we're running is the first 1,000 accounts, everybody's going to get 1,000 Bitcoin MYK tokens.
All right.
And that's the first 1,000. Now, after we hit 1,000, then what we do is it goes into what we call the proof of participation model. And those are a few tokens you get for completing offers, from going on the site, for kind of parking on the site, playing games on the site. And it's not a lot of tokens, but it's something you can earn whilst you're on the site.
That's interesting. So you're really rewarding the first 1,000 people that are getting involved in your community.
Right. Yeah, we're rewarding the first 1,000 people as of right now. But now, once the network suppliers, once they get on board and we get going good with that, they can distribute out the tokens pretty much how they see fit. Our model is you can keep half of them, make sure you distribute out the rest of them. But really, it comes up to the community at the end of the day, because if they're not holding the kind of like our elected officials, right? You have to kind of hold their feet to the fire. If they're not doing that and they're not doing a good distribution job, and the community doesn't like it, then it's time for them to go. It's time to elect somebody else.
Yeah. It seems like you're really creating a community-centric, cryptocurrency project, and that's incredible. And it seems like you're definitely thought it well through, and I'm hoping you have great success. And where have you noticed your biggest traction right now between getting community members? Is it from people from Steemit, from Bitcoin Talk? Where are you getting the most traction for people most interested in your project?
Well, it's kind of strange, and it's kind of hard to tell, because I don't know if you know this, but I run a YouTube channel called Education Entertainment TV. And it has right now over 1,700 subscribers. And a lot of people come in to to that channel watching it. And it's really hard to say what community comes in, but I will say this, the one thing I've noticed is that the Electronium community, you've probably heard of Electronium.
Oh, yeah.
There is this big community with the smartphone mining, and they kind of do an airdrop, similar thing to that, and maybe that's why their community's grown so large, because of that airdrop they do with those mobile phones. But I got involved with their community several months ago, and I started doing videos, and a lot of people start watching those videos. And so I would imagine quite a few people come in from that. But as of recently, I have been doing Andrew Yang videos as well. You know, especially due to his pro-cryptocurrency platform. So I would imagine it's possible people are coming in from that as well, being attracted to that universal basic income.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good, nice, diverse supply of people coming in. Are you running any SEO ads, or you running any Facebook ads, or you running any social media ads to get more traction, or is it down the road?
Actually, I used some D-Click. From Steemit, I don't know if you know, Steemit had one called, I tried D-Click, and what else did we use? We used a marketing site. It's like one of these YouTube type marketing sites, and we did a little bit of advertising, not much, a little bit of advertising with them. You know, what we're hoping for is that it will be this viral participation from the community getting involved with this. That's what our big hope is at this point. We don't want to spend a lot of money in marketing because we would rather put that back to the universal basic income holders, you know, and put that back into the community. But if we have to, we will.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting to hear. That shows your perspective of saying, I mean, it might take a little bit longer organically, but we should be growing organically. So I know some people pump a lot of money into marketing, but the growth might not be organic. But if you're going after people and doing different things, publicity, different events, such as this one, or hosting events and reaching out to different people, I'm sure you guys are going to grow pretty nicely.
That would be great. That would be fantastic. And I just hope that it can kind of hit that theory, what we have about mass adoption, and kind of put some demand into cryptocurrency, because I think with something like universal basic income, with 80% of the globe being interested in it, I think we could have possibly something like mass adoption or close to it, and so that's the hope.
That's incredible, and I'm sure that would definitely make early investors in your project and token holders extremely happy as well. But it seems like you're coming with great intentions, and hopefully you're going to do great things with this project. It seems like you're on the right path, and you're going to help a lot of people doing it, and definitely improve the cryptocurrency and blockchain space in the process. So that's really incredible. I give you much respect for that.
Appreciate that. And I really appreciate this opportunity to get a chance to talk about it. So far, it's just been pretty much my channel I've been talking about it on, so it's good to go on other channels and have the opportunity to speak about it. And so I very much thank you all for giving me that chance.
And the next thing is, but podcast is a lot of people listen live, but also a lot of people listen down the road, and you can use the clip for whatever you want in the future. You can show people down the road. You want to give people an idea of what your project is. You can take the audio. So that's another reason why I like doing the podcast, because it gives people another clip, another piece of content they can use to kind of help with the project or do what they will. So I really appreciate you coming on, but hopefully you can use it to your advantage. And, is there anything you'd like to say before we get going? I know the listeners are probably going to want to reach out to you, so if you don't mind, just letting them know where they can reach out to you too.
Absolutely. You can reach me, of course, at BitcoinMYK.com. Most of the time, you'll find some live support there, so you won't just come on the side and be looking around and say, hey, who's there? You might get somebody there in the chat, in our chat rooms there. If not there, you can come on our YouTube channel. I spend a lot of time over there. That's Education Entertainment TV on YouTube. And you can also join us on Discord. That's we're over on Discord chat at Bitcoin MYK UBI.
Wow, yeah, because it seems Discord is a great place to reach out for people who definitely want to get that intimate thing. But if you have the chat right on your website, that's definitely a huge benefit. And I noticed that when I visited, it was one of the first things that popped up, and I was interested about that because it's definitely another extra level to make people feel comfortable when they come to your site.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we also got games over there. You can play games. You can we want to do some. Well, we got a lot of different little things you can do on the site that's lined up that will surprise people with. But we also got the forum area where you can go into the forum and you can like other people's posts and comments. Kind of it's thematic type feel, and you earn a few coins over there for doing that as well.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. So it seems like, yeah, it's a great project. I'm excited to take more time investing in it and taking a look at it. And I think you're really onto something, and I really appreciate your time, and I really hope you do the best.
Thank you so much, and I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity.
I appreciate that. And again, this is BitcoinMYK.com. This is Mykos, and he was sharing his insights about his project. You guys want to take a look at that. It seems like he's really coming into it with good intentions, and he's definitely improving a different model on in the cryptocurrency space, and I'm really happy to see that. And it seems like he's definitely going to bring some positive change, and that's what we really need in the space is some real positive change. So I really appreciate him coming on again, and I hope you guys take a look at his project and reach out to him on Discord or Miss Chat on his website as well, and that's BitcoinMYK.com. And actually, usually we end right there, but we had a news article come in that it was brand new. I just wanted to cover it before we left, and just trying to bring extra insight into you guys. But some of you guys are invested in Tezos. They raised a lot of money, $232 million in their ICO in 2017, but they just completed their first voting for two competing system-wide upgrade proposals. Basically, they have two different proposals, and they passed the first one. Athens A is what it's dubbed, and they had about 25,000, almost 26,000 votes. So not everybody voted. There was some people that abstained, but it was a pretty historic because it was the first time they actually voted on a major proposal to the network, and it just happened today. So it was going to be interesting to see what they did. One part of it was talking about gas limits and how it would be increased so that the Tezos blockchain can allow for larger transaction throughput, which obviously they want because they want to be able to handle more transactions, and it looks more enticing to new people coming to the network if it has a higher transactions per second. And so that's one thing they're voting on, or part of that A proposal. And another one is the roll sizes, the amount of tokens, Tezos tokens you need to hold in order to be randomly selected in the block creation process. Right now it's 10,000, but it's going to go down to 8,000. And that just happened today. And just wanted to cover that before we left, just to try to bring you that extra value, because some people were interested to see if the community behind this Tezos, how much money they raised, would actually come together and create an operating network. This new network changes will take some time. The way they set up the Tezos network is over 4 stages, and each stage has a specific protocol. So it's going to take about 3 months for actually to enact and go live. So it's still going to have you still have some time before it becomes implemented, but they did vote on it today and that it passed. So that's definitely a great thing for the Tezos community to come in together to create a solution. So I really appreciate your time, and I hope you guys got some good insights from the recent recaps of the week, and also the great interview with Mykos of Bitcoin MYK. He definitely has technical knowledge, and he explains it in a way that you can understand. So I'm definitely take a look at his project, and that's Bitcoin MYK. And also, this whole thing is put on by Walrus with the EasyDex and the Easy Life. Just like we were talking about earlier about decentralized exchanges, EasyDex for me which is built on the BitShares network, which can handle one of the highest amount of transactions per second. It is one of the easiest ways to make trades. You can access tokens. You can get fiat money in and out, which is nuts, all over the globe. So it's a fiat on-ramp in place. And you know, in this time and age right now, especially, it's hard to get that in an exchange, especially a decentralized exchange. So Walrus built that through the easy DEX, and that's what I use to make my trades. And that's what I use to get money on if I need to get any money on. But I use it to make a lot of trades. It's really simple, really easy. The design is really nice, and it has, you know, if you lose your lose your password, most places you'd be screwed. You lose all your money. But with EasyDex, you actually have password recovery. So just in case you do lose your password, you forget it, they have a password recovery service, and it's real secure and safe, so you can get access to your funds. And that's huge because we know the password, and then you lose access to the funds. So he really thought of a lot of things to help you guys make your trades better. So I really appreciate him doing that, and that's what I use for my trades. And he's a really great community too, and he's a really great leader. So I really appreciate his time as well. But thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Coffee and Crypto. This is Chief, and I hope you guys have a positive day. Thanks again. Bye.